the Bogue Pier exactly, but places like Cape Carteret, you are in this warning here. We'll put on a radar loop of the last 15 minutes. Here it is. You can just see this cluster of storms moving onto the Bogue Banks and into over across Bogue Sound. So again, if you are in this tornado warning anywhere from Swansboro, Cape Carteret, also anywhere along that Route 24 there that runs parallel to Bogue Sound, Cape Carteret, Red Barn Road. Again, you want to be in your safe place. We'll pull up a couple safe place tips here for you. So if you got that warning on your phone, weather radio, if you're hearing this on TV, again, this goes until 7:45 and until you get the okay. Be sure to be away from windows is the primary concern. Preferably a basement, of course, but you can go to a hallway, a staircase, your bathroom, anything away from windows that would protect you from flying debris. And then it's no problem at all if you want to use pillows, a blanket, or a helmet to protect yourself here from flying debris. Again, gusty winds are possible within some of this. We'll pull up the radar again. If you're just joining us, we are looking at a tornado warning that goes until 7:45 a.m. Donnie will kind of walk you through here. Donnie, kind of looks like you can see, even outside of the velocity couplet, you can see the curvature of this potential supercell moving ashore.
Yeah, you can see the area we're looking at right here. This has actually been making its way onshore. And again, this is the area where we're keeping an eye on for the potential of a tornado as it makes its way over into the western part of Carteret County, eastern part of Onslow County. So those of you in Swansboro and Bogue, as you continue to see this, and looks like, Grant, that certainly something that we'll be keeping an eye on over the next couple of minutes as it pushes off to the west.
Yeah, we'll be tracking this here. Again, this is a few minutes old in terms of the radar frame. We're just now getting some new frame updates in here, but as it crosses the Bogue Banks into the Bogue Sound, it will likely be around that 2458 intersection within the next couple minutes. So it is important, if you know anybody traveling to or from Emerald Isle, not a good day to travel with all the rain around, but you certainly want to use some caution here anywhere in the far eastern tip of Onslow County and down here in Carteret County. We'll show you the polygon that we are going to be tracking. So regardless of where this circulation is moving, if you were in the polygon up towards Pelletier all the way down to Swansboro, very gusty winds possible. Be in your safe place. That could be a basement, a hallway, staircase, anywhere away from windows as this continues to move to the northwest around 25 miles per hour, so it is moving fairly quickly. Of course, we're waiting for each updated radar frame here. This one will come in just a couple minutes, but as of right now, the bulk of this wind is likely moving over towards Cape Carteret right now, that 5824 intersection. So if you are downstream from there, again, we'll shout out a couple road names in between Swansboro and 58. We got Holland Point Road, a couple communities, of course, back there. If you're vacationing here, maybe you got the alert on your phone. Be in your safe place as well. A little bit down the road, we have north of Swansboro, we have Pittman Road, 24 to between 58, anywhere along there, be in your safe place. Now, the tornado warning goes until 7:45. With waterspouts, they tend to lose their punch and lose their rapid rotation as they move ashore. So as we continue to get updated radar frames, we'll have to see how that plays out. But still a very noticeable couplet here. You can point it out pretty easily, and we'll show you a look at the Bogue Pier cam. Now, just about 3 or 4 minutes ago, we saw a big, strong burst of wind on this cam. And that is now, even though it's still very breezy, very rough seas, you can see that that has now somewhat gone away. So likely, again, now moving across the Bogue Sound or into the 58 stretch there along Cape Carteret. So if you are in that red polygon, however, all the way up towards Pelletier, Swansboro, be in your safe place as this potential waterspout continues to move ashore. And we'll bring you the full picture here a little bit. Heavy soaking rainfall. Outside of this tornado warning, potential waterspout moving ashore, we have soaking rainfall and a flood watch that goes until 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. So putting it in play, you can see that the bulk of the rain right now along and south of Highway 264, this will gradually shift north overnight here, and then we'll taper off the showers into Tuesday morning, but the primary concern still being the potential of flash flooding for the rest of the evening. Any commuting hours. And the threat is limited, but we'll pull up the Storm Prediction Center's forecast for the tornado potential. Again, very brief and isolated, but as we're seeing right now, we have the potential for an isolated spin-up tornado or waterspout really through midnight until this bulk of these showers lift north. So we'll pull up the radar again. If you're just joining us, we have a tornado warning until 7:45. That's in about 20 minutes. And Donnie will give you a look here, zoom into the places that are under that warning until 7:45.
Well, as you take a look, here's what we are dealing with. And again, these are making their way back to the northwest, as you can see. So we do have the polygon here with this area. It was offshore, as we mentioned a couple of minutes ago, and we were tracking that and noticing that it was picking up our interest. And then as we were continuing to watch it, the tornado warning was issued. You can see one of the areas we're looking at now making its way from Emerald Isle back over toward places like Pelletier and Swansboro, and it's making its way to the northwest at about 25 miles per hour. So do be on the alert for the danger with this system, as well as with other areas that's being kicked up by potential tropical cyclone 8 as it makes its way back to the west. But again, Pelletier, you could see this headed up Highway 58 or 24 as you head over towards Swansboro. And as of right now, Hubert's not in this, but this storm certainly will make its way back over in that direction. This is the area, again, that we continue to watch. You see Emerald Isle here, Highway 24 coming down near Bogue. And this is certainly the area we're going to keep an eye on until 7:45 is when we expect to see this tornado warning continue until. And again, a lot of these, as we mentioned, will spin up, and then all at once they'll just actually start to fall apart as they make their way inland, as Grant mentioned a couple of minutes ago. But again, the radar site right here, and you can see the area that we're looking at is right in here, making its way back off to the areas near Taylor Notion Road. Also, you see Pelletier here, Cape Carteret. And then as you make your way back over near Swansboro, this is going to pass just to the north. So to those of you on Morse Road near Pelletier, you need to keep in mind this is going to be passing in your direction. You can see the area here along Highway 58. That's the area where we saw this come across and make its way off to the northwest at about 25 miles per hour. So Cape Carteret, you need to keep this in mind. And as you can see, we're looking at areas right along Highway 58 and 24. Those are the areas of the most concern at this particular point. But again, to those of you more into the western part of Carteret County and the eastern part of Onslow County, that's where you can expect to see the potential for this tornado. Now, we could possibly see a few more tornadoes pop up as we go through the evening as these areas try to make their way or circulate back into the area. Because of the potential, as we mentioned, a potential tropical cyclone 8 making its way back to the west. Bigger picture shows the motion we're talking about. You can see making its way to the northwest. Lots of heavy rain back over near Raleigh. You can see some of the storms northern parts of Duplin County and into around Kinston and the rest of Lenoir County, back into the western and northern parts of Craven County. But this is the main area that we're looking at, is this small area that continues to lift off to the north at this particular point, the potential of producing a tornado. So until 7:45, we do have the potential for the tornado in that area. Right around the areas from Emerald Isle over towards Swansboro and back up toward Pelletier. Otherwise, take a look at the flood map. We do have a flood watch until tomorrow morning. Therefore, we have the weather alert day. And as you can see, we do have all of these areas with the showers pushing through, contributing to the potential for some flooding. But the main concern right in here in the western part of Carteret County, headed over into the eastern part of Onslow County, and even the southern part of Jones County, you could certainly see the potential for some of these conditions starting to threaten in your area. So do keep that in mind as we head through the evening hours. It's certainly maybe a couple more of these pop up as we head through the evening. This is the area we're looking at right now. You see Swansboro. You need to keep an eye on this as it makes its way. In fact, you need to be in your safe place if you're anywhere Pelletier to Swansboro, Cape Carteret, and back over to Emerald Isle, as that's the direction we've been seeing this go. And again, the tornado warning runs until 7:45, as you can see right here, and that's again, this area that was really off the coast is now starting to slide inland, and we're going to change back over and take a look at the areas that we're looking at as far as a couplet, or what we're looking at to see if we can find the particular area of rotation. And you can see as this makes its way back to the northwest, this is the area that came in and around Emerald Isle, making it back over, as I mentioned, toward Cape Carteret, Pelletier, and Swansboro. This will run until 7:15. 7:45, which is still about 15 minutes away, so we'll keep an eye on that. But again, you can see the direction to the northwest, and again, this will continue to push to the northwest at about 25 miles per hour. And Swansboro, Pelletier, this is next as it makes its way through the north of Cape Carteret right now. And for those of you in those areas, remember, the best place to be is in a center room in your home. If you have the opportunity to go to a basement, that's the best place, but not a lot of basements in Eastern Carolina. But that is certainly the first place you would want to be. But otherwise, a closet, a bathroom in the center part of the home, that is the safest place, especially if you stay away from windows. That's most important because of the fact the windows, the broken glass, flying glass certainly could create problems. You can see near Kurt Holland Road, River Reach Drive, just north of Swansboro. Those are the areas that are certainly under the gun right now. Silver Creek Landing Road, you see Pelletier right here on Highway 58. That's an area, again, that we're looking at. Is this brighter area? It's the area that you need to be under the most concern as it makes its way back to the northwest at about 25 miles per hour. Again, this is part of the rain in the storm systems we've seen today because of the latest direction and rotation, you will, or circulation around potential tropical cyclone 8 as it makes its way inland. It puts us on the side where we expect to see the potential of these tornadoes popping up. So the tornado warning until 7:45, and again, the larger picture shows you what we're seeing in Eastern Carolina, and this is the main area of concern right now. And again, what it looks like as we go through the next couple of minutes is we get into the eastern part of Onslow County, maybe even the southern part of Jones County. Those are the areas where you need to keep an eye on this storm. But again, something else to mention, and Grant mentioned that a couple of minutes ago, as you see the replay, this is the area we were watching. So as it makes its way inland, it has the potential of weakening because usually as those come on shore, they weaken a little bit, but don't let your guard down, especially as you make your way near the track here. But we'll continue to keep an eye on that. And Grant, one thing that we do want to mention is this will be a possibility as we go through the next few hours during the evening.
Yeah, through the rest of the evening, and then really as we head towards midnight and afterwards, the potential will become less limited or become more limited. But right now we're tracking a tornado warning if you're just joining us until 7:45. This is a waterspout that moved ashore just to the southwest of the Bogue Pier. We have a cam here. We'll pull it up real quick. It's breezy down there, rough seas, but not as breezy as what we saw about 10 or 15 minutes ago when this moved ashore just to the southwest, and likely a waterspout that is now moving ashore at the Bogue Sound. And again, Cape Carteret, be in your safe place right now up towards Pelletier, between Pelletier and Swansboro especially, and as you head up the Cape Fear River there. So we will continue to see this until 7:45. Have been looking at some radar frames and holding its rotation together. Again, the latest radar frame as of 7:31 shows it now just to the north of Cape Carteret. So again, that 2458 intersection, if you know anyone potentially heading down towards the Bogue Pier or heading down towards Bogue Banks, you might want to let them know not to take 58 over the next few minutes here at least. And again, anywhere along 58 and between 24 especially is where you want to be in your safe place. It has lost its vivid couplet here since it moved ashore, but still showing some rotation as it moved across the Bogue Sound. Likely did help spin that up again as it moved over Bogue Sound. But now as it's back over land, hopefully going to continue to fizzle out and lose its punch as it moves up towards Pelletier. But regardless, if you are in that red polygon area, you're going to want to be in your safe place until 7:45. So that is all the way between that 58 and 24 stretch, Swansboro, Pelletier, north of Cape Carteret. You shouting out a couple road names here. You can see we have just to the west of Pelletier, we have Buster Road, White Oak Crossing, Swansboro Loop Road, pretty much between 24 and 58, but anywhere even down towards west of Swansboro, portions north in northern Bear Creek, you want to be in your safe place as well. So we continue to get updated radar frames, and regardless whether or not there is a waterspout now tornado on the ground, we have very gusty winds within these, and we'll put up a couple radar points here. You can see wind gusts up to 50 miles per hour possible. Even if this is not a waterspout, that is enough to cause some damage. So again, anywhere away from windows, we do have a list as to where you should be if you were under that tornado warning. Maybe you got it on your phone or hearing it from us here on television. But if you did get that alert, we have it until 7:45, and until you get the okay, a few places you should be would be one, preferably a basement, but if you do not have a basement, anywhere away from windows will be your best bet. So a hallway, a staircase, a bathroom, again, no problem in using a pillow or blankets or even a helmet to protect yourself from flying debris if you got this warning on your phone. And we'll pull up the radar again. If you're just joining us, we have a tornado warning until 7:45 p.m. The radar frames, just going to say, new one came in, so still holding on to a decent couplet, and at the very least, over 50-mile-per-hour wind gusts possible as this storm moves through Pelletier and between 24, so especially between Swansboro and Pelletier. Of course, we have a lot of development areas in between that stretch, and that's where you're going to want to be in your safe place right now. And further down the road, we will see here what the polygon still includes south of Coons, north of Swansboro, and again, can't really emphasize it anywhere else, but between 24 and 58 as this continues to move to the northwest at around 25 miles per hour. We'll put on a cone here to show what would be downstream. Now, this may not hold up. Again, now that it's over land, likely going to lose some of its punch here, but as it moves to the northwest around 25 miles per hour, so right now in between Swansboro and Pelletier, later down the road we have Stella, Palo Alto. If it holds together in the next 20 minutes, again, hopefully going to lose its punch as it continues to move over land, but we'll keep an eye out if this red polygon, that tornado warning, is trimmed further off to the northwest as this storm continues to move inland. And then a little bit further downstream in northern Onslow County, you have Belgrade there. And right now, though, we'll bring up the rotation couplet again and just zoom in. The bulk of this wind, a very, very gusty storm moving through that stretch between 58 and 24. So Swansboro likely feeling it right now. And then heading up towards Pelletier, anywhere adjacent to Pelletier. Of course, we have that stretch. You have Amphitheater Road, Pelletier Shores Drive, Buster Road. And if you know anyone traveling, say, from Maysville down to the Bogue Banks, down towards Emerald Isle, this is certainly take cover instead of going out and commuting this evening. And real quick, we'll pull out the big picture here. We're also just tracking the potential for flash flooding this evening. That's still one of our primary concerns as we head throughout the rest of this evening. You can see that lots of rain right now. It's been continued to be draped across that 70 and 264 corridor and south. That is where we've seen some of the highest rainfall totals. So putting up what we have seen so far this afternoon and early this morning, you can see we picked up generally 1 to 3 inches across the region, especially along 70, but south of 70, places like Jacksonville, Wallace, Warsaw, you've seen over 3 to 4 inches. And as we continue to pile on the rain here, that is enough to cause flash flooding, minor ponding of the roadways. So really good night here to stay inside, especially as that isolated spin-up tornado potential exists here. And Donnie, it does look like they have trimmed away from the Bogue Banks, the Bogue Sound there, so Emerald Isle is no longer in this, and now north of Cape Carteret as it moves up between 24 and 58.
Well, as you just mentioned, trimming it back but not adding to it, that's certainly a positive if you're looking for something that is you're going to take away from this. It is the fact that the areas back toward Bogue and Emerald Isle have certainly been trimmed out of this, but to Swansboro, Pelletier, and those places in the eastern part of Onslow County, you need to keep an eye on this. Also, southern part of Jones County. And what we're looking at, again, certainly is the potential of the possibility of seeing some of the activity pick up in the areas north of Swansboro and right along Highway 58 and 24, and right in between those two, especially as I mentioned, Swansboro over to Pelletier, and then as you continue to make your way across the eastern part of Onslow County, just keep that in mind. Otherwise, again, you can see the area that we're looking at, and that's the polygon or the red outline that you see here, and that's until 7:45. A tornado warning issued a little bit ago, and that's because of a waterspout that was just to the southeast of Emerald Isle, and the Bogue Inlet Pier made its way inland and is now pushing off to the northwest at about 25 miles per hour. And as you can see, we're looking at places in and around Pelletier. Also, you see Norton Notion Road. Also, we're looking at places like West Fire Tower Road to the west of Pelletier, Swansboro Loop Road. That's the area where we're picking up on the most concern here right now, Kurt Holland Road. And it looks like, again, as this makes its way back to the northwest, and those of you in those areas need to keep in mind that your conditions may start to deteriorate before this weekends. And again, this was a stronger signal that we saw coming in on radar when it was out over the water, and then the tornado warning was issued. And so therefore, we're bringing you up to date on the latest. But as we back out and show you the bigger picture, you can see all across the area, mainly south of Highway 70 and to the west of Highway 17 is where we're seeing the most concern for the heavier rain. In fact, south of Highway 70, we're seeing a flood warning that goes until 10 o'clock tonight, and part of the reason for that, the conditions are certainly favorable for some flooding, so we have the flood watch as well that continues until tomorrow morning. But take a look at the Bogue Inlet Pier at Emerald Isle. A little bit clearer picture here than what we were seeing a couple of minutes ago as this storm was pushing across that area and making its way off to the northwest at about 25 miles per hour. Now, the bigger picture, again, you can see what we're looking at. That's mainly in the southern part and southwestern part of the areas where we're seeing the heavier rain. You still see the lightning and the heavy rain associated with the storm capable of producing a tornado. Again, this tornado warning runs for a couple of more minutes until 7:45. And what we're looking at here continues to be that area that's just north of Swansboro. And then again, you can see that couplet that we're looking at just to the north of Highway 24. And again, for those of you anywhere between, say, Hubert and Pelletier or points to the northwest, you need to keep in mind that we are looking at the potential here for a storm capable of producing a tornado. And again, that's this area right in here. So as this makes its way off to the northwest across Onslow County, please keep in mind that certainly conditions could begin to deteriorate as long as this holds together. But until 7:45 is what we see as far as the timing on the tornado warning runs until 7:45. We could still see some more of these pop up tonight. And again, the potential is there at least for a couple more hours this evening. And it's all part of potential Tropical Cyclone 8 that is making its way back to the west and southwest of our area. That puts us on the side where we have the potential of seeing these type storms. But again, just a couple of more minutes, we'll see this tornado warning continue until 7:45. Mainly, we've seen the box or the polygon shrink down a bit, but still it is certainly indicating the spot where we could see the potential of, again, more rotation here with this particular storm. It's just about to pass to the north of Hubert in a couple of minutes as it makes its way to the northwest at about 25 miles per hour. And as we go through the next couple of hours, there could be a few more of these offshore that could certainly bring a waterspout onshore, or even some of the thunderstorms that do develop over land could bring a spin up, quick spin up on a tornado. But this is the area that we're looking at right in here. You see the arrow pointing off to the northwest, and that means that those of you From Maysville down to Jacksonville along Highway 17, the potential of this storm passing in your direction certainly still there, even if it loses its tornado warning criteria here in the next couple of minutes. Again, runs until 7:45. We're at 7:42, coming up on just over 2 minutes. And again, as this makes its way off to the northwest, that means all of these areas that you see in Onslow County, even the southern part of Jones County, you could see the potential of these conditions deteriorating quite a bit as you make your way along places like Hunters Creek Road, as you can see here, Stella Road. Also, as you make your way on over near Hampshire Lane, those are areas where we expect to see this to pass on through in the next couple of minutes. Here's the area that we are looking at, and again, you can see until 7:45. It's 7:42, coming up on 7:43 right now. And we expect to see this storm as it pushes on inland to still create at least gusty winds, as Grant mentioned a couple of minutes ago. Regardless if it stays a tornado warning or not, it has lost some of its punch here, Grant, though, as we go through the next couple of minutes. We'll continue to watch that, and you can see there certainly those wind gusts of 45 miles per hour. That's something that is in and around the pinpoint area that we've been keeping an eye on.
Yeah, and as this storm, gusty storm, continues to move in between 24 and 58 north of Swansboro now, places like Palo Alto, you could see a gusty rumble of thunder here as this just one cell moves further to the northwest at around 25 miles per hour. But looking at the velocity couplets here, it has really lost its rotation in terms of it's now a broad rotation. But as Donnie just pointed out, we're seeing wind gusts still 40 to 50 miles per hour within this particular cell, now moving north of Swansboro. Coons, you are now in it. Palo Alto in the next couple minutes. Be sure to stay away from windows here. Good night to really stay inside. But in terms of what was a waterspout, a pretty noticeable waterspout, we even picked up some very gusty winds at the Bogue Pier on camera, and that moved ashore just to the southwest of Emerald Isle, the Bogue Pier, and then has crossed the Bogue Sound, moved up towards Cape Carteret, that 2458 intersection, now to the north of Swansboro, still moving to the northwest towards Silverdale and Palo Alto, but it has really lost its rotation. So this warning does go until 7:45, which is 1 minute from now. We're going to continue to see if the National Weather Service does continue this for portions of Onslow County. Again, places like Palo Alto here, and again, north of Swansboro now. But we have about 30 seconds here, a minute, to see if this is continued to be continues or expires. But regardless, a gusty rumble of thunder moving up towards Coon, Palo Alto, Deppy there along 17 up towards Maysville, and pulling out in the big picture while we still have a few seconds here. We'll just show you what the broad picture is looking like. We continue to track what is now well ashore inland, the North Carolina-South Carolina border, the low of potential tropical cyclone 8. We are on the northern end of it, so there is an isolated brief spin-up tornado just like we saw, and it does look like, have officially canceled or expired that tornado warning. So over the next few hours, have a way to get alerts. We could see more of these waterspouts moving ashore, and especially that minor flash flooding potential, Donnie.
Well, and we'll continue to keep an eye on it. Right now, we're going to return you to your regularly scheduled program. But again, if any more tornado warnings pop up from any of these storms, especially moving onshore, we'll keep you up to date and be back on the air should any more tornado warnings be issued.
This was a Storm Track 12 severe weather alert. Stay with News Channel 12 and the Storm Track 12 meteorologists for up-to-the-minute weather information as we continue to track the storm.